Good evening, everyone. I don't usually come out this late. I am here this evening with a gentleman by the name of David Weiss, and he is also called Flat Earth Dave. Thank you so much for reaching out to me and offering this. This is incredible. Before we begin, I would like to share with everyone that it takes a lot to come out publicly and share your beliefs and to begin dialogue and to put yourself out there. So, as respectful as we can be towards things, if you don't agree or if you have a question, feel free to, put it in the chat if you would like to ask a question or have a comment. We absolutely are interested. Since I don't know that much about your background, if you could just kind of give us a quick bio and introduction to you. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks. I'm just a normal guy. Grew up on the East Coast, worked in corporate America, started my own company. I was doing a podcast on the side and investigating lots of deceptions in this world. And people started throwing, "Hey, Dave, have you looked into flat Earth?" Now, just like you said to the people, like, "Hey, if you disagree with this, ask a question." Well, I wouldn't even ask a question. I thought it was the dumbest thing in the world. I wouldn't watch a 1 minute video. I ban people for life from our social media. Once you're banned, right? And that's it. And then I was forced to look. And once you're forced to look, truthfully, people go, "Oh, I looked into flat Earth. I Googled flat Earth." Well, that's not how you look into flat Earth. Because if you Google flat Earth, you end up at the Flat Earth Society, which is a government-run disinformation site. You end up with ridiculous pictures of a disc floating in space. None of that is true. So that's my background. I do this now full time because, as we'll get to by the end of the show, why the shape of the earth matters. And truthfully, the shape of the earth doesn't matter. It's the lie that matters. So once we get into it, we'll definitely answer that question. But let's first find out why the heck I think the earth is flat.
Right, right. And it's interesting because I was just earthing before I came in here just to kind of, center myself. And I was like, I don't really care what shape it is. I'm just happy that it's here and that we get to live here and that the birds are here and the squirrels, etc. So I appreciate what you just said. That was good.
Yeah, that's actually, I get it. But once you see, the analogy I do, well, we'll start here. It's fine. Is imagine you lived in a giant building, a giant apartment building, 100,000 people live in there, million people, whatever the number is, a building that you can imagine, but there's no doors and no windows and you've never seen the outside. And that's all you know. You grew up there. You were born there. You work there. You buy your groceries in there. You work out in there. Everything is there. And then one day somebody came by and said, "Hey, there's other buildings outside. There's
Yeah.
other places to go." And you go, "What? I don't care. I'm happy being a prisoner." The truth is, there probably is more land, more places to be. So first, before we get into that, what is the flat Earth? This is not the flat Earth. This is what they want you to think flat Earth is, so you laugh at it. We're not a
Right.
disc floating in space around, with a dome over it. You can't fall off the flat Earth. If you Google, flat Earth in space or whatever, you get this. We're not a pancake floating with a bunch of heliocentric planets. The other planets aren't flat. There's not planets are a whole nother thing. So if that's not it, what is the flat Earth? Well, I describe the flat Earth like a puddle. After it rains, where does the puddle form? It forms in the low spot, in the dip in the land. And the edge of the puddle is just where the land is higher than the water. Well, a pond is a bigger puddle. A lake is a bigger pond. And the world oceans, I call the world pond, the world lake, whatever you want to call it. And so here's the world pond. Just you're looking down on a low spot in the land. All of this land that surrounds our pond is Antarctica. Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. It's not the highest land on Earth as an island at the bottom of a spinning ball in a space vacuum, which is insane. It's the highest land that surrounds the
The
basin that
puddle.
we live in. It's a yeah, we live
Yeah.
in the Antarctic basin. So what's out here? I don't know. This newspaper in Hawaii, a Japanese newspaper, Japanese map that was found in the early 1900s, shows a whole bunch of other continents out there. Okay, whole lot of non-tyrannical, tyrannical freedom, perhaps. Maybe there's other suns
Wow.
out there and other lands. You know, what would you call more extra land territory if somebody lived on that extra territory and came from this outer space and to this inner space where we lived? You would call them an extraterrestrial from outer space.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, anything beyond the 60th parallel, which is this pink line, is off limits. They
Right.
have what I
That
mean.
I knew. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Antarctic Treaty in 1959 came out of nowhere. All the countries in the world eventually signed on to it, and they're like, nobody can go explore Antarctica, even though it's filled with resources. You know, we're killing each other for resources, wars all around the world, but nobody can go to Antarctica. We don't want to disturb the penguins or the ice. But go ahead, deforest the Amazon. That's fine. You can do all of that stuff, right? So yeah, that makes you wonder.
Do you know which president signed it for us?
Never been asked that question. Don't know,
Okay.
but
I'm
I'm
famous
sure
for
I'm
asking
sure
those
he
kind of
was
questions.
a related to the king. I think it's King George or whatever. What they're all related. It's all a scam. All of
Okay.
this is about control. You think you're voting left, right, same monster.
Right.
Okay. Same thing. None of it. It's all a put up. All the different countries, that's just to divide us. They divided us by countries. Then they divide us by states. And they divide us by political parties and religions and sexes and colors. And now
Yep.
they're dividing us by vaccinated, unvaccinated, by,
Yep.
believing in COVID, not believing in COVID, right? They're divide, divide, divide. Because the more they divide us, the less strong we are.
Yeah.
United we stand, divided we fall. So this entire tyrannical situation we're in right now could end tomorrow if everybody just woke up and said, I'm done. I nobody has dominion over me. Nobody has power over me. And this is all about maintaining control of our minds. They put a fence around us. They put us in a prison for our mind, and that's the globe.
Yes.
You watch the Truman Show, and they go, Truman, there's nothing else to discover. They just showed the whole world. That's the whole world. Well, this is the whole world that we know, but they're not letting us know what this world is.
Right.
So, do you want to go down any direction? What would you like to discuss?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's funny because after I found out that, we were going to do this, I realized how ignorant I was in this category. And so I'm just going to let you share away. And if somebody has a question in the chat, I will let you know. I do believe that perhaps understanding one of the things that I remember seeing was that all of the pictures of the world that are supposedly from outer space are different, that none of them are consistent or the same, like as far as space goes. I don't know if you have any information on that or I did take flying lessons. So I remember getting up, really high. And then all the times I've traveled and not really seeing the curvature, and, and so any information that you have about that would be great too.
Yeah. So this right here is known as the blue marble. It was on everyone's iPhone, and it was, everybody believed that's a photo of the Earth. But NASA's visual artist named Robert Simmons did an interview, and he said he made it in Photoshop. He just given data. He's like, oh, there's more plankton here, so he made that water lighter blue. And this is tropical, so he made it greener. And this is a desert, so he made it brown. And he literally photoshopped the clouds on. If you look, the clouds are stepped and repeated. Okay. He was too lazy to make new clouds. So he just, he copied and pasted them. But if you look at this one, look at the United States, it's a little bigger, don't you think? These balls are the same size.
Yeah, it looks
right?
different.
And to prove that that's not a angle thing, or that it's closer and you're not seeing the sides of the ball, we can do a little measurement. This is across Mexico and Baja, and we could prove scientifically on Earth, we could drive across here, that it's 934 miles. The stated diameter of the ball a straight line through it would be 7,917 miles. I should be able to fit 8.5 of these in between these two red lines. Eight and a
Right.
half, right? That shows
Yep.
you that you're looking at another painting, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Dang.
So this is, another shot of the world. I mean, this is the stuff they're doing is mocking us, and people
Yeah.
just don't believe it. One of the things I like to show is what is this one?
And so somebody was saying here, like, how do you hope to propose that we get the truth out there? Is this just like, okay, I'm just going to do as many of these shows as possible? Like, do you want to?
That's what I'm doing.
Okay.
I'm going up to wake as many people, because in these tyrannical times, if something happens and we actually get a chance to get our freedom back, which is looking more futile every day, is if we do get it back, how long will we be able to hold on to it if we're spinning out of control, lost in space? We don't know who we are, where we are, what we are. That's a big part of what's going on. The way they've been able to pull all of this tyranny off is they have us lost in space, spinning out of control. Um,
And
here's
it
a
scares people, and that makes people, yeah,
Yeah,
hold on to things tighter and be more afraid and be more judgmental of others, etc.
yeah.
That's
Here's a globe on the right here. This is Buenos Aires, big city, and here's Cape Town, big travel spot. 4,276 miles on the globe. This is how a plane should fly, and it should take maybe 9 hours. If the plane's going 500 miles an hour, it should take less than 9 hours, but it doesn't. They go all the way up to the north and then all the way back down, and it takes 29 hours. Okay, because we're not right here. You have to go on the globe. You have to go all the way up here and then all the way back down.
yeah, it doesn't make sense.
It makes no sense whatsoever. This
What
one,
do you
good.
have one that you think is the closest that you can configure that it would be?
Yeah, so I'll show you. So when you want to go from Buenos Aires to Perth, Australia, this is what FlightAware says the route would be, but you're not allowed to fly over Antarctica, so maybe just fly around it. That would be the shortest route, but this is the actual route. It goes from Buenos Aires to either Miami or Houston, then it stops in California, then it stops in Sydney, then it goes over here. I think it takes 26 hours, or they go Europe, Singapore, Perth. Okay. That's the actual flight path that they go. These are the stops that they make.
Right.
If you want to go from Santiago to Sydney, well, this is the flight path on a flat Earth, but the way they show it, they show us on a globe Earth, the actual path that they take is this. They go here, all the way to the north. Why do they do that? Across and all the way back down. And if you want to go to Western Australia, it's worse. They go all the way up, all the way over to Europe and Dubai, and then back and then down. That's crazy. But when you look at that second route on a flat Earth map, you go all the way up across Europe, Dubai, Western Australia. Airplanes fly straight and level over the Earth plane. That's why they're called airplanes. They fly straight and level over the sea level, not the sea curve.
Yeah.
They don't fly around a spinning ball or even a stationary ball. They fly straight and level over the Earth plane. And in their
Right.
manuals, it says that they treat everything as every flight manual says assume a flat, non-rotating Earth plane. That's what it says in the FAA manuals and NASA documents and CIA documents, that all of their aircraft rockets are treating the world as a flat, non-rotating plane.
Yeah. I remember being a kid and going into that tilt-a-whirl thing where you go like this and you get pushed against the thing.
The roundup.
And I remember asking my dad, like, I don't understand, because it seems to me that if we were spinning this way and we were on top of it,
You go
we would
flying
be
off.
thrown off.
Right.
And then he said, well, it's centrifugal force. And so he used words that I had never heard of. And I was like, okay,
Well,
because I was like 4.
that's what they do. They use big words, and then they give you equations that no one's going to plug the numbers in. And even if you plug the numbers in, it doesn't matter because we don't live on a math equation. But if you look at the heliocentric, now people, what are we using big words for? The heliocentric, it's just the globe model. We're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. We're orbiting at 66,000 miles an hour. We're chasing the sun at 500,000 miles an hour. And that entire system's moving sideways at over 1,000,000 miles per hour, right? We have all of these motions. They tell us because of the spin of the earth, the earth is bulging 14 miles high at the equator, right? But somehow we have lakes that look like this, right? We have perfectly calm lakes that are mirror reflections of the mountains in the distance. How is that possible on a spinning, whirling, twirling, corkscrewing, spiraling earth?
Absolutely. Great question. Um, I would love to know, because you do this all the time. Um, there's people that obviously don't agree with you. What's their greatest criticism, or what's the most legitimate argument that you hear?
The best argument they go is, you're an idiot and you live in your mom's basement. That's the best proof they have. They only look what you'll
That's not gonna
notice.
work. That's
What
not
you'll
gonna work.
notice in the comments after we're done, a team of trolls will show up and they'll say, I'm a scammer. I'm just trying to sell apps. I know the earth isn't flat. And they'll say all of these insulting things, but they'll never once offer a globe proof. And then if you go to their channels, there's nothing on their channels. I call them the comprehensive globe proof channels, but there's
Right.
nothing on their channels.
Right.
So these are just paid shills trying to discredit people. But there's one like Jose or Jose. This guy shows up. He won't even watch your video. He'll just go into the comments and respond to everything. And look at his channel. Zero content. Zero.
Right. That's wild. So I also will be honest with you. I have a very good friend that has a channel, and they said that they will not be talking to anybody that wants to talk about flat Earth. It isn't a flat Earth, and
Yeah.
they're Bible based. And so, is this something that is counter to the Bible? Because I personally remember the firmament, but I don't remember anything about it being a sphere.
So the Bible never once says sphere. There's over 200 verses in the Bible that speak of a flat, non-rotating Earth. What happened to my thing? The Bible truly is a flat Earth book from page one. Okay, from page one, it's a flat Earth book because it says in Genesis, it says God separated the waters from the waters and created the firmament. Right, the firmament is the dome above us.
Right.
So this is my app. It's called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. Because Google is hiding everything, this is literally the only way or the easiest way to learn about flat Earth. And if you click the web button and those 9 buttons, up comes a bunch of stuff. And on the bottom, second from the bottom right, biblical flat Earth. Click that button and up will come a whole bunch of videos about the Bible and flat Earth. These are videos that you won't be able to find on Google, on YouTube, because they hide them. They don't want you seeing these, right?
Okay.
And if you watch it, if your Bible friend would watch any of these, especially the top 5, those top 5, there's no way that they can come out of that and not realize that the Bible is a flat Earth book. The only thing the Bible says that might make you think the Earth is round, because it says this in Isaiah, it says the circle of the Earth. And that's the circle is, my table is a circle, but it's not a sphere. A coin is a circle, but it's not a sphere, right? While we're here, let me show you how seasons work. The sky is a perfect clock. The sun is the hour hand, and it's attached to the hour hand, but you can see right here, it's not attached to the hour hand. Do you know why?
No.
Why isn't the sun attached to the hour hand? Because we're in fake daylight savings time right now. They want us to think it's an hour later than it is. And I have a nefarious belief on why, but they want us to keep us off kilter. So the moon is following the sun, but the sun laps the moon once every 28 days. So if you watch, the sun's getting farther and farther from the moon every time it goes around. So the moon phases and its position keep track of the weeks and the moons. They used to be called moons. There used to be 13 of them. And so it'll lap the moon every 28 days. If I turn on the stars lap the sun once a year. So the sun will hang out in each zodiac for about a month. Next month, it'll be in this zodiac. The following month, it'll be in Cancer, right? And the stars never change, even though we're corkscrewing supposedly through space for trillions of miles. The stars are always the same every year. The eclipses repeat every 18 years. It's crazy. So let me explain how seasons work, because this is the one that actually proves the earth is flat if you really think about it. You see the three
Yeah, that
circles?
was actually one of my questions too, because I was like, okay, I could see it, but
Let
I
me
guess the
explain.
sun is going.
So
Yeah,
if let's say you and a friend are outside, it's winter, you're laying down on the ground. You're in beach chairs, you're on the ground and it's freezing outside. Okay? And you're 10 feet apart. Okay? And I come with a big sun lamp, a big heat lamp, and I hold it, 5 feet over you, right over your head, 5 feet. You're gonna feel that warmth radiating your body. You're gonna be like, this is nice. And the snow that's around you, because it's snowing, I didn't mention that, is gonna melt. Okay, because of that heat lamp. So you
right.
look up at that heat lamp, it's over your head. Your friend 10 feet away is going to see that heat lamp lower in the sky, and it's not going to be
Yes,
as warm. They're still going to be cold.
yes,
So then we're going to move
yes,
that heat lamp over to them. And now it's higher in the sky and it's lower in the sky from you. Their summer, their winter. So now watch. The inner yellow line is the Tropic of Cancer. The outer yellow line is the Tropic of Capricorn. And the line in the middle is the equator. The sun circles around once a day, 365 times a year, but it migrates in between the two tropics. So I'm going to jump it forward to July. And in July, it's pretty much over the Tropic of Cancer, right? That's when we in the United States have our summer. Miami, super hot. Mexico, super hot because the sun is directly over them. Over here, Japan, the Philippines, really hot. Australia, cold because the sun is farther away, like that heat lamp farther away. But if I jump the sun forward 6 months, it jumps out to the Tropic of Capricorn. They're having their summer. We're having our winter. Get it?
yes,
Because it's
yes,
farther
I
away.
do.
When it comes around here,
Yeah,
the sun's going to be all the way over here. It's still kind of warm in Florida, but it's really cold here because it's just farther away. The system isn't as big as you think it is. So the sun.
what causes it to move? What causes it to move out
Yeah, that's a great question.
away
And what
from?
is the sun? I don't believe that the sun is the sun that we see is the physical object. I believe it's like a focus point of light through the firmament. If you take a magnifying glass, and you know how people used to burn things with a magnifying glass, right? You got that little point of light. Get a magnifying glass, go outside and do that. That little point of light looks really like the sun. It really has a lot of characteristics that the sun has. Then if you lift it up 5 inches in the air, it's no longer, it seems to be gone, but it's really still there. It's just in the air. I believe that the sun that we see is a focused point of energy into the earth system. And that's how that works. So real quick before I get out of here, what I tell people is, if you think this is stupid, I'm offering a Bitcoin. But for your group, I'm going to offer 2 Bitcoins. Okay, 2 Bitcoins for anybody that can come up with one proof of the globe. But before you do that, you have to watch the daily video every day for 2 weeks. I do short ones during the week, little longer ones on the weekends. And at the end of that 2 weeks, if you still think the earth is a globe, hit that question mark and make sure your question's not there. What about eclipses? What about gravity? What about seasons we just talked about? What about photos of Earth from space? What about ships over the horizon? If I hit ships over the horizon, again, videos that Google will not show you. These are hidden from you. They don't want you to see these. And by the way, I'm not saying watch a video and think the earth is flat. I'm saying watch a video and then go do it yourself, right?
Right.
Just go do it yourself. And then you can verify, because the stuff I'm showing you is verifiable. The stuff NASA is showing you is not verifiable by anybody. So,
Right.
so again,
Well,
that's the
I've
good.
even thought like we've got such great, my background is, production, and we've got such great cameras and we've got such great technology. Why is it that every time you see like SpaceX, Elon Musk's, things coming back down or whatever, it's like the worst quality. You can't see what's what. Like you don't know anything. It's bizarre.
Most people don't even watch. You see this rocket launch here? It's not real. It's a hologram like Tupac. Okay. Sometimes they use holograms. Sometimes they use blimps, helium filled blimps. Like the space shuttle was a blimp. That big orange tank was a blimp. But this production, something went wrong with one of the projectors, and watch what happens to the top of the rocket. We found their projectors. We were like looking on Google Earth, and we saw we could zoom in on one of these. What are these
Oh,
lights?
whoa.
What it was like? We're like, what are these lights? And we found that we could see that we can read like the serial number or the company name, and we looked it up. It's a holographic projection company on the lawn at NASA. A holographic projection company.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
That's just like 9/11. At least that's what they say, you
yeah,
know. I
yeah,
don't, I've gotten to the point because of all of this, which I think is great because I love the unveiling of the truth. The truth absolutely sets you free. And I agree with you. If
yeah.
people all understood what's going on, they wouldn't be waiting in line, they wouldn't be fighting, there
Right.
wouldn't be any of this because
So
everyone would feel like you and I do.
the only thing that the only power that the elite or whatever you want to call them have over you is in your mind. It's only in your mind. Okay. And it's money too. Money is something that controls with, but the value of a dollar is no more than what it can set on fire with it because it's all in your mind. So,
Right.
it's actually useless, but everyone believes it. So therefore it has value. Um, these guys in space, they always have, crisp shirts, always buttoned up too high, thick padded pants. What is going on? Heavy utility belts. Are their pants going to fall down in space? Okay. These guys are obviously hanging from wires from waist harnesses, right? They're hanging from wires. They're always holding their hands together like this, you know?
Right.
It's so easy to deceive people because we want to believe we don't want to believe that everyone's lying to us. People want to believe that we can they want to trust people, right? Here, look, this is me. I'm in space. Okay. These guys, they're floating in space. I don't get $65 million a day. NASA does,
Yeah.
right?
Is
And
it
I
really
did
that
this
much?
for
65 million a
$65
day?
million every single day, including leap year. Probably not including leap year, actually.
Wow. So where
Yeah.
do you think most of their money goes?
Well, I don't think it goes there. I think it's just a way to control us. I think that they have unlimited money to do their Hollywood productions, but all if you catch NASA faking something once, you could
Yes.
unwind it all the way to we never went to the moon. So they got a fresh shipment of food, and they were talking about how they don't normally have fresh fruit, but they had a lemon. Watch what happens to this lemon. It's not real. It's called augmented reality. Look at their hands. Look.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not a real. They're just manipulating things, and then it's all being put in there in post productions.
Yes.
So
Wow. And so do you think Elon's in on all this?
Elon is the controller of nothing. He is a puppet out there saying what he's supposed to say. I even doubt some of the radical stuff that he does. He's told to do all of that. Elon Musk, he's the CEO of like 5 gigantic companies. He's the guy that took over NASA. Nobody could do all of that. Nobody. Okay. He doesn't do anything. Get him off script and it's a nightmare. When they put you remember the Tesla, he put his car in space.
I don't know that.
So
No.
so
Share. Do
he was
tell.
he was launching it's called the Falcon Heavy, right,
Mhm.
rocket, and he launched his car into space, and this is what they showed us. Okay, ready? This is ridiculous. This is the dumbest thing ever. And watch this shot coming up. Ready? This is supposedly in space, and everyone believes this. Why wouldn't they take a snapshot? Ready? 1, 2, 3, snapshot. Why wouldn't that be in every Tesla showroom? Why wouldn't that be on every magazine cover? Popular
It would
Science.
be, you're right.
Yeah, it wasn't. It's never anywhere. There's not a single photo of that anywhere in any Tesla showroom or anything. And there's so many things wrong with it. Look at the Earth glitches out. The tires would explode. The entire thing is ridiculous, right?
Yeah. What do you think about satellites then? Because, I remember when we lived in Colorado, I'd be looking up in the stars at night and, you would definitely see satellites moving or something
So
moving.
you the only thing that we could say about what we see in the sky other than airplanes is that they're lights. We don't know anything. We do know that NASA has these balloon programs and they can put up satellites weighing up to 8,000 pounds that go up there for years. Some of their satellites are bigger than football stadiums. Some of the balloons are bigger than football stadiums. Think of a balloon the size of the Houston Astrodome, okay? And they're up there, so you might be seeing the light reflecting off of some of those. You might be seeing, who knows, they could be natural phenomena, they could be
Right.
unknown craft. You could be seeing these balloons. We've seen these balloons cross the transit the moon, but we've never seen a satellite transit the moon, right? NASA owns all of the largest helium companies in the world and is the largest consumer of helium in the world, and they don't tell you about it.
Wow. And so where do they launch these huge balloons?
Most of them are launched from Antarctica,
Okay,
but
of
I'm
course.
sure there's other places too. But they can control their position by remotely controlling their height because there's counter rotating winds around the Earth in different directions. So they can literally make these things hover over an area that they need them to hover over. But this is going on all the time. There's tens of thousands of them. There's plenty of videos of them crashing in remote places, and people now with their cell phones are getting images of these before they get, before the NASA people come in and scoop them up real quick.
Right.
So it's happening all over the place. But again, satellites don't even do what you think. Arthur C. Clarke wrote the book about satellites. He made up satellites, and a few years later, we had satellites. It's like the royal guy in the 1800s. No one had ever heard, thought of, theorized, or seen a dinosaur bone, but he wrote a paper about how dinosaurs might have existed. And then a year later, to
Yeah.
the day, he discovers the first dinosaur.
And he also happens to be one of the 13 bloodline families.
Yeah, of course. It just, this is just how it happens. But the idea of satellites falling over an Earth that's corkscrewing through space is ridiculous. Think about it. Imagine this satellite was a geostationary satellite. That means it has to stay right over this piece of land that's right underneath it. Remember, the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. So that thing has to be going faster than 1,000 miles an hour just to mimic the spin of the Earth. The Earth is also hurling around the sun at 66,000 miles an hour. So it has to mirror that corkscrew, the circular corkscrew pattern. Then it has to follow the sun at 500,000 miles per hour. Nonsense. This is just a mind game, and none of it is even slightly possible.
Wow.
Yeah.
That, that is amazing. And so somebody asked, how does this affect astrology?
Yeah, so astrology, I used to laugh at astrology. Astrology, how stupid, how could Mars being in retrograde, 30, 40 million miles away, whatever the distance is, how it can't even affect the tides. How can it affect me? Well, the stars and the planets that we see, the planets used to be called wandering stars. Did you know that?
No.
They used to be called wandering stars. And if you look at them through today's optics, our optics have outgrown their lives. This is Mars. It's here within the Earth system. It's this. To me, that looks sentient. It looks intelligent,
Yeah,
right?
it
They're all
does.
named after gods, right? And then if you look at stars. Here's the star Arcturus, right? Look at that. Is that a burning ball 50 billion miles away or trillions of miles away? I mean,
It's beautiful.
yeah, amazing. And here, check this one out. This is Capella. You can film this yourself. This is Capella, right? This is my favorite. You can see this once you see it. You can see it with your naked eyes once you see it.
Oh, that's
Okay,
cool. And
on
now
a
you're making me want to get a telescope.
You don't need a telescope. You buy the Nikon has the P1000 camera. It's a mammoth camera. But if you don't want to spend $1,000 in that one, the one before that, the P900, much smaller. It has an 87 times zoom, and it's only a couple $100, and it's an awesome camera. And you can film these things. These kind of look like they're underwater, right?
They're beautiful.
Yeah, they kind of look like they're underwater because we think that space is water.
Yes. And I love that they do look like singing water almost. Like it's vibrating or singing and then it looks like if it were to freeze it would be in like beautiful geometric shapes, you know?
Yeah, it's amazing how many people are waking up to flat Earth. Once you see flat Earth, you can never go back, because once you understand how ridiculous the heliocentric model is, um, it's over for the heliocentric model. It's funny, anyone that sees flat Earth, they never go back. Nobody goes back. Except once in a while there's a shill or something that comes in. Oh, I'm a flat earther. Oh, now I'm a globe earther. Ha ha. You know. Um, any other questions, or I can jump on to how does the
Yeah,
sun
keep
set?
going, keep going. Do your thing. It's fun.
Yeah. So people say, well, how does the sun set over the water? Because I see it disappear from the bottom up, right? So it's all due to perspective, and it's all due to atmospheric density. Okay. When you're looking into the distance, so when you have a cumulus cloud day and you have it there, you can see the clouds sitting on a deck, right?
Yeah.
And the clouds over your head, 5,000 feet in the air, whatever it is, they're over your head. But if you're looking out over the water, those clouds that are maybe 30 miles away are literally merged with the water. You can't tell the difference. They're at your eye level and they're touching the water. That's just due to perspective. They're still 5,000 feet in the air, but that's
Right.
due to perspective. So now you're looking across that, and that creates a opaque barrier at your apparent horizon. And there's still air, there's still space above it that goes way farther. So when you look at that, so my little so here's the clouds over my head way up here, but in the distance they're down here, okay?
Right.
And so when the sun is just going away, it looks like it's setting from the bottom up.
Right. Oh, for sure.
Right?
Yes.
And that's how it's set. So let me show you. I did a model. This is my flat earth kitchen counter. I have this line here, which is level, and I show in the video that it is level. I show it from end to end, and I'm running the sun along it, okay? Just showing you the path of the sun level with the earth. And here is either mountains or it could be that cloud deck I'm talking about, but I'm above it. I'm just going away. Now I have a camera on the other end of the counter looking up at that from a terrestrial point of view. This is a celestial view. Here's a terrestrial point of view. Look at this line. Does that look like it's going down?
Mm-hmm.
It looks like it's going down, and watch what happens. It sets behind this, which looks like it's at eye level because it's far, far away. Whatever that is, it's far away, and the sun just goes beyond it. Look at this line. If I showed you this first and I said, is that level or going down? You would say going down.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's a level line. Now I'm going to compare it to an actual sunset. You would think the sun is going to set behind here, but it doesn't. It sets behind the atmospheric deck of opacity right there. Just like this. It looks exactly like it. Okay. And in the distance, unless you're zoomed in on that, this little space between where the sun is setting and the water, you can't see it because it gets compressed. And it looks like it's going behind the water, but it's not. It's just going away.
Right.
It's just going around.
And I totally get that piece. If it is flat, I understand that concept of it.
Right. And here's another thing, and I don't know why it's out like that, but we're dragging this thing away as it's coming closer. It's on a flat surface. We're looking at it, but this is what the camera is seeing. It's setting, and I'm just dragging it across a flat table, and it literally sets behind an apparent horizon. That has to do with atmospheric magnification. So people say, why doesn't the sun get smaller when it goes away? And that's because as it's going away, it's being magnified. So it's getting smaller, but it's also being magnified. So it kind of looks the same size most of the time. But there's plenty of times under certain atmospheric conditions where the sun will go away and it'll get smaller and smaller. And you can clearly see that it's not going down. It's just going away across the sky.
Yes. And so what was the one thing that made you go, okay, I'm totally switching my mind?
One thing that was, I see, we see too far. And I said, okay, well, let me look at the curvature. The earth is so big, we can't see curvature, but somehow we see boats go over the horizon. And so I looked up the curvature calculator, and it is 8 inches per mile squared. Sounds crazy, but it's actually very easy. At 10 miles away, there should be 66 feet of drop. I'm like, wow. No, at 3 miles away, there should be 6 feet of drop. 10 miles, 66 feet. And some globers with a ridiculous argument say, no, 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 that's the hump. You know, it's the drop. So you have to only take half that. Okay, half of that. At 10 miles, there should be it's 33 feet. It's really 66 feet, but let's just say 33 feet. So I bought a camera. They bought the P900 at that time. And I went down to my beach where I know there's a buoy just over 11 miles away, rounding down to 10, giving the globe every benefit of the doubt. And I sat down at the water's edge and I zoomed in, expecting I wouldn't be able to see it because it should be behind at least 30 feet, if not 60 feet of curvature. But there it was. And worse than that, I could see the surface of the water for dozens of miles beyond it. Dozens. Okay.
Wow.
And there should be hundreds of feet of curvature there. Right.
Right.
So people say, well, how come I can't see Mount Everest? You know, why can't I see Mount Everest? Well, the angular size is one problem. The other problem is atmospheric density, right? So there's a great viewing spot in Aluja, France, where you look out over the ocean, and out here is Mount Canigou, which is a famous mountain, but it's 175 miles away or something like that. And the very top of that mountain from this viewing height, according to globe math, should be a mile below the physical curve of the Earth. But on 2 days a year, when the sun is migrating and it's passing this latitude and it lines up with the mountain and the viewers, all of a sudden you can start seeing the mountain because it's backlit.
Wow.
There's the mountain. And then right here, this is the top of the mountain. That should be a mile below the curvature, but it's not. It's right there. And as the sun keeps going and its angle gets blocked, it'll show you that this actually blocks out the sun. But the globalists will say, oh, it's all refracting. The sun really set and the mountain is really a mile below the Earth, but it's just refracting up. Okay. That's nonsense. That's gobbledygook nonsense. If you're familiar with the famous picture across one of the Great Lakes where you see Chicago, like 50 miles away, the very tops of the buildings should be hidden, but they're not. But there was a newscaster that said, oh, this beautiful picture, but it's a mirage. It's not really there. It's a mirage, they say. But so
all of Chicago?
yeah, all of Chicago is miraging up, and it's perfectly clear. So we did a time lapse of it for 24 hours, day and night, and it, with all the weather changing and stuff, it never changed. It just stayed there. It just stayed there. So if it was a mirage, that's an awfully consistent, perfect mirage. But we did even better. On a clear day, a bunch of flat earthers, they got a boat and they got on they put a camera on it and they shot across the lake. They went 50 miles and they never lost sight of the city. If it was a mirage, it would have disappeared at one point. Right. So this is over a bay. This does not have tides. Well, watch this beach here. Okay. The beach disappears and the buildings will disappear. Watch. This is just different atmospheric conditions throughout the day, right? Just a different amount of humidity, temperature changes, right? It's not the water going up and down. This is an optical thing, thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And there's so many things. Like people say, well, when I look at these buildings across the ocean, I can't see the bottom floors. And that's because another thing, it's called atmospheric compression. For example, this building here, you can't see the couple of the bottom floors. One is because what I call the wave front edge is blocking some of it. But if you look, atmospheric compression is these balconies are all the same height, but look, they start getting compressed. This proves right here. Look at this one right here. You can barely see it. It's all being compressed. This is an atmospheric phenomena, not curvature. Okay. So globers will use this all the time, but they'll never bother to do the calculation and say, well, if the Earth was really a globe, I shouldn't be able to see this floor because it should be under. Okay. Right. They'll only go, oh, there's a couple missing, therefore it's curvature. No, therefore you're an idiot. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, well, we'll not call people idiots.
I know. There's only like the diehard shill trolls are the ones that will say this. Here's another measurement. At this height, this distance, this should be under 59 feet. 59 feet. Let's say 59 feet of curvature. but I can see the water way beyond the surface of the water. There should be 59 feet of curvature here. It should be behind 59 feet of curvature. Right? I mean, we've done hundreds, laser experiments, sonar experiments, microwave experiments, mirror flashes. We've talked to naval guys, or on their ships, they can light up another ship with a pencil thin laser beam over 100 miles away.
Wow.
That's impossible. On a ball, there would be 6,600 feet of curvature. And we don't ever see that.
Yes. And so what about somebody said something about a gyroscope? I don't know what that means, but you probably do.
Yeah, so airplanes, the way they know that they're level is when they're on the runway, they spin up a gyroscope. It's a spinning wheel really fast, like 3,000 RPMs, and it's on a 3-axis gimbal, and it holds rigidity in space. No matter how the airplane turns, the gyroscope will stay. If the airplane goes up or down, the gyroscope always stays level with the ground. So that's how they know how to level themselves out. If they're turning, they know they're turning. They have to level out to the gyroscope.
Yes.
If the Earth was a spinning ball, as we're going, the Earth should be dropping off faster and faster. You know, a plane flying 500 miles an hour for an hour would be 30,000 feet higher in the air in the course of the hour. So average that out in every 2 minutes, they'd have to drop a mile. Do you think you would notice if the pilot started nosing down a mile every 2 minutes?
Yes.
You notice the second they just start hey, we're going to start descending for our airport 45 minutes early. So, you notice it right away. If you're sleeping, you'll wake up, right?
Yeah, I never thought about that one. That's a good one.
Yeah. So this is a gyroscope, holds rigidity in space, works perfectly.
Yeah, because they're going 500 miles per hour.
Right. And so
And how much would the tilt be for every 2 minutes?
Well,
How much?
it's not, so you can't do it at every 2 minutes, because once you level up, if you go 1 mile, it's an 8 inches drop. 2 miles, well, that's more than 16 inches, because it's dropping off exponentially, right? It's dropping off faster and faster. So if you go a mile and say it dropped 8 inches and then level out, which would be a new angle, then the next mile would be 8. But if you followed a tangent line, it drops off faster and faster and faster. So over the course of an hour, 30 miles, I said 30,000 feet, 30 miles of drop, right? So you're cruising at 30,000 feet. Well, you're going to be 60,000 feet in an hour if you don't start nosing down.
Right.
Right.
And you definitely do. I mean, I can tell when there's any little tilt at all. You can see it in your drink.
Right.
So you would, if you were going around the world, you'd have to always be angled down just a little bit.
You'd have to keep angling down.
Right.
But you're supposed to believe that gravity is just pulling you around. That's just nonsensical, nonsense. Nonsensical nonsense. Is that a thing?
Why not? Why not?
And here's another thing. NASA is in charge of all GPS, all radar, and all flight routes. Well, the deceivers at NASA sometimes have to allow something to happen. So this is Taiwan to Los Angeles, and this is the route that they say the plane takes.
Right.
But right about here, next to Hawaii, there was a medical emergency. Somebody was having a baby or a heart attack or something happened. And if you were the pilot, where would you land?
Los Angeles or Hawaii.
Or Hawaii, maybe, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Nope. They went all the way up to Alaska.
For the emergency.
The reason for that is Taiwan, emergency, Alaska. They were nowhere near Hawaii. But this is
the correct map?
Yeah. This is the best map that we have. This is the map that they use for navigation. And you have to remember, people say, well, what about circumnavigation? You can just leave New York heading east and you'll end up back at New York if you keep going in a straight line. Well, that's wrong on a flat Earth and a globe Earth. Here's at the center, we have the magnetic North Pole, and here's our compass, and the compass is pointing to the north. I'm pushing this compass west, and west is a circle around the magnetic north. And east, if I go east, so this is east, I have to keep turning so that compass needle points towards
Wow.
the magnetic
Whoa.
north, right? So
Whoa.
that's the same on a globe also. Okay. Now, if I try to dead reckon west and don't correct to the north, the second I start moving, I'm heading south. Ready? Bam, I'm heading south. That
Wow.
needle has to point towards the center. Every straight line is south. The needle didn't turn because the magnet isn't strong enough, but that's south. All of these straight lines are south, going away from the center. All of them are south, right? If you try to go south, you're not going to pop up over here. You're going to go and you're going to keep on going. Now, you can you can go north. So watch, the compass is going north, 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 up, and now I'm going south as soon as I pass the north. All straight lines go south, and then south just keeps on going. Nobody has gone from Santiago south and popped up over in New Zealand or Australia. No one's ever done it. Why is that? Because Australia is not upside down. This is not going on in Australia right now. Okay. This is not happening in Australia. I mean, you have to believe that cruise ships and tanker ships and oceans are upside down according to the way our feet are standing, right? Down is down for you. Down is down for me.
Right.
Up is
Oh,
up
I
for you.
totally get that.
Up is
Yep.
up for everybody.
Yep.
Forward and backwards, left and right are relative to the way you're standing. You're
Well,
not.
this amazes me because as a kid, none of this made sense to me. And that's what I'll just always go back to, my initial instincts. Um, the first time I heard about it was Santo Bonacci or Benici, I don't know how to say
Santo
his
Bonacci,
name.
yeah.
And he kind of opened my mind to it. And I'll remember looking at my daughter going, I literally have gotten to the point with all this COVID stuff and everything that's going on that I don't even know what shape the earth is.
Right. Let me find a picture. So going from Australia, which is on the other side of the ball here, to Santiago, they supposedly like come around here, and we had a flat earther, Max Egan, who was not a flat earther, and he said, "Hey, I'm taking the direct nonstop flight from Santiago to Australia," and he wanted to. He said, "Okay, hey, we're going to live stream it," and we did a live stream from the time he was at the airport, loaded on the plane. He's on the live stream until the plane took off. He had to turn his phone off. We tracked the plane with professional systems, and then he turned the phone on when he landed to prove where he was. So we proved that the flight does exist. So that's taken off the table because a lot of flat earthers said that flight doesn't exist. And we're like, it does exist. But he did compass readings, okay? And his compass readings, along the way, he said when he thought he should be going south, and then southwest to get to Australia, he didn't. He was reading his compass readings, and his compass readings were he had northwest, 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 and then here it was just west, and then it was southwest, 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 south, pretty much south at that point. Those were his compass readings. We laid them out on the direct line, and all of his compass readings matched what we had.
It would be.
They matched what we observe, right? His plane, the compass turns. These are the readings that he was getting that made no sense on what his seatback map was showing him,
Right.
and what they said the plane was doing. But this is what he read. So there you go. I mean, you can't get much more proof than that.
No, and it's interesting too, because I remember being on an airplane and seeing the tracker and going, why do they even show that?
Yeah.
And it's almost like it's propaganda. Like we're convincing you the way that you're going so that you feel like you know where you're going. I'm just so suspicious now. I mean, my daughter and I have a podcast and we end it every day with stay suspicious. And so I appreciate you teaching this to all of us.
Yeah, no problem. I just think that this is the most important thing right now because if you don't know that you're a free person, that you're the center of creation, that you have tremendous power, everything that you have in your life, in your daughter's life, is because of the way that you think. But they're trying to control the way that you think. They're trying to limit your resources. They're trying to literally drain you. They're trying to drill down through everything that you have that protects your soul so they can steal your soul with the soul lure system. Okay.
Right.
They're literally trying to steal your soul. That's the currency of this world. We're here having this soul experience, and we're here to expand the mind of the creator, have a good time, and not break anyone's free will. Those are the things that's it. Those are the only rules. Don't break
Right.
anyone's free will, and don't lose control of your soul. But
Right.
they're trying to hide all of that. They're trying to put us into a godless or distant god at best universe, infinite, spinning out of control. They want us afraid of everything. An
Mhm.
asteroid could take us out at any moment. We're running out of food. We're running out of water. Global warming, nuclear bombs. None of that is real. None of it. It's
Right.
all not nonsense for your mind. Now, we got the COVIDs, and then now next is the cyber attack, and then global warming's coming. Right? It's insanity.
Do you
The
guys
stuff that
have any, just like COVID, there's really incredible virologists and immunologists and all that have come out telling what they think is the truth, which
Be
is
careful
complete
what you
opposite.
say. Be careful what you say if you want to keep this on YouTube,
Yeah.
because the censorship is absolutely insanity.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, do you have scientists that are
Oh yeah, we follow a
with
lots
you
of
guys?
super smart natural doctors and naturopaths, and there's so much. There's so much information out there. I mean, anybody that's falling for this nonsense is mind controlled. They have no idea what's really going on. I mean, they literally brainwashed us into um, believing in cartoons, because everything they show us is a cartoon, from the earth to this nonsense thing that's floating in the air that's going to kill us if you get within 6 feet of somebody. They're
Right.
cartoons.
And so, what keeps somebody from grabbing a plane and just taking off
And go
until
into it.
they get to the end?
Yeah. So the Antarctic Treaty doesn't allow anyone to fly to Antarctica. But if you get there, where are you going? How are you going to navigate? You can't get any fuel. Compasses don't work. GPS doesn't work, and they won't let you fly there. Some guy got permission from his small country to go explore Antarctica. He had a big boat, and when he got close to it, he was stopped by military ships, threatened to be sunk, turned around, sent home, and when he got home, he was jailed. Okay,
Wow.
they're serious. Nobody is allowed to explore Antarctica.
And so, in your version of the map, so like in the globe, it's just in one little part, but in your version, it surrounds the whole Earth as we know it.
Right. It's the shoreline of our world. What's beyond it? I don't know. What's beyond it? It could go on. There could be other ponds with other worlds. There could be rings. I showed you the rings around it, right? I showed you this.
Um,
Did I show you this earlier?
yes,
This,
yes,
right? It
yes.
could be like this. This could be one pond. There could be 1,000,000 ponds, 100 million ponds. Okay. There could be just this. I don't know. Right. There could be more. There could be just a lot of ice, goes on and on and on. This could just be it. Right.
Right.
Um,
How deep do you think it goes?
well, the deepest hole ever dug is just short of 8 miles, whether the earth is flat or round. And they couldn't figure out what they were going to hit next using their ground penetrating radar when they were digging. That's equivalent to drilling halfway through the skin of an apple, and they were wrong every step of the way. But somehow they know what the next 4,000 miles is. Right? They
Yeah.
couldn't guess what was in the skin, and they know what the next 4,000 miles is. That's called pseudoscience. That's called a meme, and everyone's believing it because they've been brainwashed. Are you
Well, yeah,
familiar with the Georgia Guidestones?
it's like program driving. Yes, I am.
Yeah. So besides having the New World Order marching plans on them, there's this little hole. And this little hole is pretty amazing because when you look through it, you see the North Star Polaris. And if you do a time lapse, all the stars spin around it. How could this thing line up with Polaris for over 40 years so far, and it's never moved when we're corkscrewing through space, traveling, in 4 different directions, trillions of miles, and Polaris is mirroring our motions 233 light years away. That is the dumbest thing ever. Okay. That is impossible. It wouldn't line up with that hole for 2 seconds after they built it. It would be obsolete. But this thing was built for the test of time. This is a calendar and a clock.
I'm speechless. You're just blowing my mind.
Check this out. In December, this guy on this side of the world, right here, when he looks up, it's midnight. Okay. Right. Because over here it's noon. Over
Mhm.
here it's midnight. Right.
Mhm.
So he's looking that way. He's looking that way and he's seeing everything that's over there. So you're looking, let's pretend you're looking that way. So what do you see in front of you? You see your computer, you see your camera, you see other things. 6 months later, the sun is over here, the earth is over here, midnight's over here, and he's looking that way. Okay. How can he see the same things? Turn around and tell me if you can see your computer.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right? You can see the same stars 6 months later when you're looking in the opposite direction, and this sun is creating a wall of light between you. You shouldn't be able to see any of the same stars. Now, you can see some different stars at different times of the years due to the stars rotate slightly faster than the sun, so they get out of sync with the sun. Okay. But they're in perfect sync because go out tonight, look at the stars, mark where they are, and next year, same night, same time, go out and look at your little star chart and it'll be exactly the same. That's impossible.
That's awesome.
Impossible.
That's awesome. And so when you think about the criticism and the trolls and all the stuff, I mean, I just look at it from a intuitive coach perspective. Anytime somebody comes at me, I know it's within them that there's an issue. Because no offense, it's not that I don't care about your thoughts, but it's just, it doesn't hurt me for you to believe something, whether I believe it or don't believe it. And so, in your opinion, why is it that it agitates people so much? Or do you think people are actually coming after you because they're told to?
There are some people that come after me because they're told to. Other people are just too egotistical to admit that they've been lied to their whole life. It wasn't easy to admit that my whole life was a lie. You have a guy in your chat who's just been making insults the whole time, but he is yet to give one proof of the globe. Just one proof of the globe. That's all I
Right.
ask. I'm offering 2 Bitcoins. 2. Okay, that's 100
Yeah.
grand.
I wonder who it is. I'll try and get rid of him.
It's the Revenator or whatever.
Okay, he's gone.
Yeah. Well, now he's gonna go, look, they threw me out because they couldn't
I don't
handle
care.
it, you know.
I don't care.
Yeah.
This is a nice, sweet, like wilderness church kind of a channel. We don't. I'll remove somebody if they say something I just kind of don't think is kind.
There you go. Very nice. So here's some more predictive programming. So who ran the story of who ran NASA, which is Werner von Braun. Werner von Braun, a German Nazi scientist that
So
was
was he
brought
from Operation Paperclip?
Operation. Now, I don't believe Operation Paperclip was a real thing. I believe it's just a front story.
Oh,
But Werner von Braun is the guy that ran NASA. Yeah, I believe he's just an actor from Hollywood. And that when he died, on his gravestone, it said, I'm trying to pull it up so I get the exact quote. It said, it talked about here it is. It says Psalms 19:1, the heavens declare the glory of God and the firmament showeth his handiwork. So why is the guy that's running the moon missions writing about the dome above us? Okay. To make things worse, in 1957, he wrote a book called Project Mars. And it was a story about a group of people from Earth that went to Mars to start a colony. And that colony was run by a guy named Elon. 1957, he wrote a book about a guy going to Mars with a big bunch of people starting a colony, and his name was Elon. This is Elon Musk's rocket that he's taking people to Mars in. Does it look similar?
yes.
All right.
It does.
It's not so similar. What's a little difference? Could you tell me a difference between these two?
Well, There's a lot of differences actually as far as like little details, what
Well,
it's
the
made
number one distance, this one's a little blunter, right?
Yeah, that one looks more
E-
like a bullet.
Elon a month ago tweeted, I want to redesign the Mars rocket and make it pointier. This is mockery. They're mocking, they're mocking us. Just like they did when they showed us a picture of Pluto, right? They got this beautiful picture of Pluto with a spacecraft that was traveling 60,000 miles an hour, getting a picture with low light, with a low resolution camera, beautiful picture that happens to have a desert or whatever this is that looks like the dog Pluto, which was also created the same year that they discovered Mars. This
Yeah.
is pure mockery, pure mockery.
Yes. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy,
Interesting. Interesting.
right? And
And
it good.
no, I, you believe the planets are spheres.
I don't believe their planets are spheres. I believe that they're energetic light sources right here within
Oh,
our.
like you had showed earlier.
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
showed you what Mars was. I don't believe they used to be called wandering stars, and until they changed it to planets, right? I mean, look at this. This is our new Space Force emblem, and this is
Right.
Starfleet Command. Okay,
Yeah, I know.
that's I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't know. I mean, how much more in our faces they can stick it, but people just want to believe anything. And there's so much actual they say flat earthers don't they all use the same arguments and they don't know they don't like science. They're science deniers. No, no, no. We love science. We're science users. The only science that globe earthers use is the word science and the word physics. You say, what's your number one proof of the globe? They go, science and physics. I'm like, no, no, what science and physics? They go, all of it, And I'm like, can you name one experiment? Well, why should I? You're just gonna say it's fake. I mean, this is how it goes. I'm like, just give me one reason you think you live on a globe besides somebody told you. And the number one thing is photos of Earth. But you look at the photos of Earth and they're all cartoons, just like
No, and
everything
they're
else they
also
show us.
different. You're right. Absolutely. I had even noticed that before, and I was like, I wonder if they're just doing them to make them look prettier, or where. And so,
This is
what about Google Earth? What's your thoughts on
Google
that
Earth
whole?
is a bunch of low or not orbit, the airplanes mapping out the world in pictures, sewing them together and wrapping them around a ball. They admit it. Google Earth was created to make us think of the Earth as a globe. It's one of the main reasons that they made it. And you can wrap things around a globe and it kind of works, except when you try to, size everything properly, it doesn't work.
And so, what do you think is the number one reason they want us to believe that it's a
Because if you
sphere?
don't know who you are, where you are, what you are, and think that you were raised from that you evolved from pond scum, you've given away your divine power. They want to dilute the creator, dilute God, and they want to dilute your importance. I think we're all parts of God. We're a little piece of God. That spark in us, that soul is the soul of God. And they don't want us to know how powerful we are. They don't want us to know that if we all woke up tomorrow and said, F off, and we're opening our businesses and doing everything we want, and we're not going to give you any more money either from all the money that we make. There's nothing they can do about it. The only
Right.
control that they have is the belief in our heads.
Yeah, and so it reminds me of narcissists and how the first thing they want to do is knock you off center, but then they come by and they act like the savior, like, "Oh, this is, don't worry, I've got you. You're going to be okay." And
Right.
so, in your opinion, you're thinking the reason that they're doing this is they're basically gaslighting us so that they can control us because that's how a narcissist works. They hold you in that spell, so to speak,
Right.
of gaslighting you or making you, think you're crazy or whatever. That's
Right.
beautiful. What is that?
This is the top of a ski mountain. Just the conditions were right where the sun, it's called a sun dog, and they explain it with, oh, it's the crystals in the air and everything. No, it's the sun is like manifesting in three places instead of one, and it has to do with the reflective properties of the dome above us. So there's a thing called when you bring a light close to a curved reflective surface, there's a thing called the coffee cup caustic where it makes these different patterns. Um, and we can recreate these with a with a domed shell. I'm trying to find an image. Um, and
Because it's reflecting off of something that's curved.
correct, correct. And we see all these different patterns. I got to show you this. This is actually a very good image if it would show up. See, Zoom does this to me. If you add one picture, it rearranges all the pictures, and then you have to go find them. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. This is the sun rays coming in, and they're not parallel, but we're told that they all come in parallel. Here it is. So we kind of see a lot of the same things when we move a light inside of a dome.
You sure do. And I've
Yeah.
always wondered the rainbow being that way, but I just kind of assumed, well, if the earth is round and there's an atmosphere, that maybe that's what causes it. But I did also wonder that as a kid. Why is it that shape?
Yeah, why doesn't the atmosphere get sucked into the low pressure of space? You know, there's no pressure in space. How come the air doesn't equalize? You know, if you had a jar that had no air in it and you opened it up, the air is going to go right into it. I don't care if it's upside down. Even if you held the top of the jar underwater and opened it, it would suck all the water right into it. That's how strong a vacuum is. You know, no pressure. But everyone says, well, gravity's holding it down. Well, I could take a straw, and with the weak vacuum of my lungs and cheeks, I can suck water up and away from gravity effortlessly at any altitude.
Yeah.
Okay. That disproves the whole gravity's holding it down for nothing.
Wow. And so have you found, like, how long have you been doing this? Have you found that you're finding more and more people that are open to it, or more and more people that are buying into it, or what are you seeing?
Oh, it's not buying into it. It's more and more people that are taking the time and effort to look into it. There's two types of people that don't believe in flat earth. The people that refuse to look or Googled flat earth and they're like, oh, that's it. You know, they're just weak egos or weak minded. Or there's people that, my whole life has been a lie. They're willing to face it, look at the consequences. And the consequences are actually really good, because I'm not ripping the rug out from underneath you. I'm ripping your fake belief in a spinning speck of dust in an infinite vacuum away from you. And I'm planting your feet at the center of creation. What more could you ask for? Okay. Yeah. I'm showing you that you are divine, that you are at the center of creation, that you are a powerful being. And if people would just wake up, we could take this world back. But the problem is people are not. You know, I'm not saying that lots of people are waking up. I see a lot of positive move. I just like it to go a lot faster. Okay. And here's the thing. For those of you new to this, that you think like, oh man, he's saying a lot of things, I'm not sure. Don't believe me. Don't walk away tonight going, oh my God, the earth is flat. Do some research. And this is how you do the research. The app's $2.99. I'm not doing this for the money, but I need the money to support myself. I walked away from a high six-figure company that I started. I walked away from it to do this because I want a future for my kids. Okay. All right. And this app is the highest rated app in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. It's the highest rated app. People love it. People said they'll pay more money for it. It's only $3 and it's less than a Starbucks coffee that you're going to pee away in 20 minutes. Yeah. You have this for the rest of your life. Watch the daily video, hit the archive button next to the videos, and there's the last 2 years of videos are in there. Okay. Hit the question button, the question mark button, and you'll see how the earth really works. Right.
Have you had anyone challenge you on the Bitcoin thing?
Just really lame ones. Well, what about photos of earth? And I'm like, send me a photo. And then they don't send me a photo. Oh. So also in the app, you have this image button. You open that up and there's all sorts of images. So when you're trying to explain to somebody, they're like, oh, you think we went to the moon? You know, do you think we went to the moon in that? Right? If you were the materials person or needed to order the materials, what would you be ordering besides paper mache, tin foil, duct tape, wire ties, curtain rods? I mean, that's the picture I always show.
It isn't very pretty, is it?
No, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Here is the NASA does all of their training for spacewalks in a pool that has green screens that looks like that bottom image. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. They 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 uh they have a moon buggy that doesn't leave tire tracks. There's no tire tracks in front or behind this thing. How did it get there? Right? And it cost
Moon dirt
$38
doesn't.
million dollars in 1971, right? Tons of stuff. I mean, there's tons of stuff. This is what the astronauts when they came back from the moon looked like. Okay? Do they look thrilled that they just went to the moon,
No.
or they look like three guys being forced to lie,
You're right. You'd be flipping out.
right?
Or actually maybe exhausted because who knows what your body would go through.
Right. Well, that was 2 weeks later. They'd already been in,
Oh, okay.
right?
Yeah.
So here's a star, right?
It's
Um,
beautiful.
here's
Did you
another one.
take that or is
This
that
one,
something?
these ones I didn't take. These are other
Okay.
people's, but
They're
there's,
beautiful.
yeah, pretty cool, right? Um, Tons of stuff. When you're explaining it, it has all of these images. Um, what
It's
else?
very cool. Very cool. And
Yeah,
I am one of those people that does do my own research.
right.
I went through the painstaking process of reading medical journals
Right.
and books about viruses and
Here's how
such.
east
So
and west worked, as we talked about. South is every direction away from the center. East and south, east and west are circles, and north is in the center. Um,
wow.
when I talked about the balloons going up, this is actual live time weather at 40,000 feet. These oops, wrong. Let me get a different altitude. Um,
And so this is also on the app. So everything you're basically showing us is on the app.
Yeah, this is what the winds are doing right now. That pink and white line circle, that's going like 200 miles an hour, give or take, right? So airplanes can go in and if you're leaving, the direct flight, it could go and take this flight. But a lot of times there's another counter rotating circle in here, but it seems to have changed. So if you wanted to go from
Interesting.
Santiago to Australia, well, guess what? This wind that's here doesn't seem to be here today. Maybe it's at another level. If I try a different level, maybe it's there. Um,
So you're talking about jet streams like when
yeah,
you're in an
jet
airplane.
streams. But a lot of times the direct flights are canceled at the last minute. Like, why did they cancel it? And that's because the winds aren't there cooperating. They have these planes that can go a little bit faster. Let's say they go 700 miles an hour, and then you get a 200-mile-an-hour tailwind, and that's 900 miles an hour, and then the flight times make perfect sense. So you can see what's going on there. It shows you time zones. Ready? Boom. Wherever the sun is, it's noon. Right now, it's 10 a.m. in Eastern Australia. Right? It's 9:22 in on the East Coast. See it? Actually, yeah, I have that on. Does a whole bunch of things. So that's called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app by Blue Water Bay. If you're on Android, you need an 8.0 operating system or higher. And there's also a knockoff by the same name, using some of the same graphics, by the Flat Earth Society people on Android. And if you get that app, don't send me an email telling me my app stinks, because that's not my app.
Wow.
Yeah,
That
they're
is
trying
so nuts.
everything. They're trying everything, but
That is,
yeah, it's good. So
but no one's
anybody,
threatened you or anything, have
no,
they?
no one's
Like,
threatened me. My biggest fear is that they offer me my own house on a beautiful island in the Caribbean, all expenses paid, if I shut up. You know, if they come to me and go,
you've
Dave,
got more
listen,
integrity than that. I have faith in you.
what if
We'll
they
be
came to me
praying
and
for
they
you on
go,
my channel.
what if they came to me and they said, Dave, people aren't going to wake up. You kind of see that they're doomed anyway. Why don't you save yourself and go, be hard. It would be hard.
Yeah, that's exactly what.
I'd like to believe that I would say no.
Well, that's exactly what happened to Wonder Woman at the end of the movie, where, Ares, the god of war, was showing her the
Ugh.
humans and how worthless they were and how there was no hope for them. So,
Wow.
not
Wow.
that I'm
Wow.
comparing
Wow.
you to
I
Wonder
don't like
Woman.
that. I don't like that.
But she made a good choice. She had faith in us, as do I. I really do have faith in our fellow humans, and I really do have faith in, at some point, everyone gets pushed hard enough that they begin to awaken. And that's where I think of it as, the thing that everybody hates, the that God rules with an iron rod. And I think of the iron rod as all of the laws of the universe, the real truths. Once we know them, it does make life a lot easier to live in.
For sure. So again, the most important thing is, if you really want to learn about flat Earth, get the app. And if the two best buttons to press are, if you go to the web button and press, if you go to the web button, which is the middle button on this right here.
Yeah, the spider web.
Yeah, the spider web. Full length flat Earth movies on the middle row on the right. Hit that one, get some popcorn, sit down with your dinner, bring your kids, bring the family, and watch those videos. They're so well done. You'll be like, wow, that was interesting. And there's no way you can get through 3 of those videos and not become a full-on flat earther. The other button to hit, question mark, and but why the lie? If you hit why the lie, there's great videos there showing why they would lie. Everything that I said, but really explaining it in ways that will bring tears to your eyes. Great videos there.
So your kids can't go to school and and pass science classes.
I try to encourage kids to get thrown out of science class by asking questions, because
does Nassim Harim, or whatever his name is, one of the greatest physicists. He's gosh.
I used to love Nassim, but he's hiding the flat Earth. He's smart enough to know, and he won't touch the subject because he knows he'll lose all his funding. So whether he's trying to do good work, ignoring the flat Earth, he's missing the big picture. So not a fan. Love the guy, but he is hiding the truth. He's hiding who we are. Hey, what if, somebody that is helping keeping you prisoner isn't good. So
right. No, that's true. I agree. And so we'll have to get on his butt once I do my research.
Yeah. Just keep watching those videos, asking questions. But most of your questions are answered on that frequently asked question page.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for your time. And if anybody is watching, where do they find your website also?
You can find me in my Instagram, my Facebook page, and website, The Flat Earth Podcast, theflatearthpodcast.com, my podcast, The Flat Earth Podcast, and my YouTube channel, which is all short videos under 5 minutes usually. It's the initials for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. It's just the initials DITRH. Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, DITRH.
Yeah, but it sounds like you're not in the rabbit hole. No. Sounds like everybody else is in the rabbit hole. Well, in upside down Earth.
Worth it. You'll never be bored again once you realize where you live. You'll never be bored again, and you will. And if those of you that still watch TV, I doubt many of your listeners do. You'll never need to watch TV again, because the entertainment is just look outside. This world is
I agree.
Crazy. You can't make up television shows like we're seeing.
Yes. God bless you. Thank you so much for your time, Dave.
All right. Thanks so much.
Okay. Bye, everybody. Thanks for being here with your open mind.
There you go.
The Flat Earth Sun and Moon Clock App, a dynamic new app to teach family and friends about where they actually live. The sky is a perfect clock. The sun measures the hours and days. The moon measures the weeks and months. The star constellations measure the seasons and years. 12/12 or 24-hour clock face, or go hands-free. The Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app with new added features. World Time. See what time it is all around the flat Earth. A true Earth compass that shows true navigation across and around the flat Earth plane. Weather. Tap for detailed local weather information. Know what phase and where the moon is at all times. Watch the sun travel between the tropics for the seasons. Select an amazing background. Add your own, or have the app change it to a new one automatically every time you use the app. Add a countdown to your next big date. Learn the truth about our world with the featured video of the day. Web button for additional flat Earth related features, from the mythical curve calculator all the way to Tartaria. While talking to friends, easily pull up pictures that expose the globe lie and shine light on the flat Earth truth. video playlists in different languages. See the real trade winds circling the flat Earth and clean screen features. Simply click off the items you don't wish to see. The Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app is the best tool to show your friends and strangers how our flat Earth actually works.